Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Got a couple articles to go over in this video, and the first one I guess we'll go over is this one on discount Hillary Clinton. Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley says she will not quit even if she loses in South Carolina. This is from, as you can see, the Post Millennial. It's written by Hannah Nightingale. Ahead of South Carolina's primary election, which will take place on Saturday, former governor of the state, Nikki Haley, vowed to not drop out even if she loses South Carolina. "I refuse to quit," she told supporters at a State of the Race, whatever the hell that is, speech in Greenville, South Carolina. "South Carolina will vote on Saturday, but on Sunday I'll be running for president." Her saying that she won't drop out even when she loses South Carolina, because it's not an if. The current reaction from her donors is something like this. Now we get to I'm campaigning every day until the last person votes, because I believe in a better America and a brighter future for our kids. Brighter as in this warmonger wants us to put boots on the ground in Ukraine, tick off Russia, and cause them to go nuclear so our children glow in the dark. Nice bright future there. Haley said Trump was a disaster and would continue to be a disaster, adding that politicians who publicly embrace Trump privately dread him. Yeah. Donald Trump lost 49% of the vote in Iowa. In New Hampshire, he lost 46% of the vote. "That's not good," Haley said. "Yeah, I forgot you're supposed to win 100%, eh?" Because right here it's showing Trump won Iowa with 51% of the vote and was declared the winner shortly after caucus voting began. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who later dropped out of the race, received 21.3% of the vote, while Haley received 19.1%. Looks like a thorough shellacking in comparison. Trump won New Hampshire with 54.3% of the votes, and Haley received 43.2%. A number of voters were seen registering as undeclared to vote for Haley in the election. Yeah, they have plenty of footage and interviews with Democrats that decided to go undeclared so they could vote it for Haley. And when asked the question if somehow Haley got it, and it was between her and Biden, who you voting for, all of them said Biden. Huh. Kind of funny. You try to court the Democrats to come over and vote for you so you can beat Trump, and you're getting told flat out that you're still going to lose anyways because they won't vote for you whenever it comes to the general. Haley began the speech in tears, talking about her husband, Michael, who is a major in the South Carolina Army National Guard and is currently deployed. Her plan, I guess, is to become a widow, because this warmonger would happily send him, as well as everybody else she can, over to die in some foreign war, because it profits her and the companies that she worked for. According to a Real Clear Politics average of polling, Trump lies 57.7 points ahead of Haley for the Republican nomination. Haley remaining in the race, despite polling numbers, prevents Trump from being named the presumptive nominee. Being named such would open up additional joint fundraising opportunities between the Republican National Committee and the RNC. There's Greg Price. Nikki Haley, remaining in the race despite having no chance of winning, prevents the RNC from declaring Trump the presumptive nominee and forming joint fundraising committees, of which Biden campaigns with the DNC have $130 million cash on hand and have already spent 50 plus million in swing states. Basically, this woman is trying to leech off all in the hopes that somehow Trump will get pulled off by one of the indictments, and so she can lose to Biden because, quite frankly, any rational person is going to say, screw you, war whore, and vote for anybody else but her. Literally anybody else. Vermin Supreme is always a good option. But at this point, I campaign for really anybody just to make sure this Hillary Clinton wannabe never gets into the White House. Now, let's get to something else from this Dodo's Dead campaign to a plan to try to de-extinct, the bird dodo. Inside the ambitious plan to de-extinct the dodo, how scientists are using stem cell technology to bring back the extinct species more than 350 years after it was wiped out. This is on Daily Mail. The article is written by Jonathan Chadwick for Mail Online. Okay. It's one of the most famous extinct animals of all time, ruthlessly hunted to extinction by humans in just a few decades. Now scientists are edging closer to bringing the famous dodo back to its original home of Mauritius. I can't pronounce it. I'm really sorry. Moriartis? The island east of Madagascar in the Indian Ocean. U.S. startup Colossal Biosciences, based in Dallas, Texas, is using stem cell technology and genome editing to create a modern approximation of the species. At a cost of over $225 million, 180 million pounds, or is it euros? I can't tell. Doesn't matter. Foreign money. It is de-extincting. I didn't know that was even a word. The dodo more than 350 years after it was wiped out from the island that I can't pronounce by European explorers. Colossal Biosciences isn't stopping there. They also want to bring back the extinct woolly mammoth and Tasmanian tiger. Let's see. Colossal Biosciences has partnered with the Island Wildlife Foundation. I am so sorry, but I can't pronounce that. To find a suitable location for the flock of dodos once they've been grown in the lab. Before it was wiped out in the 17th century, the flightless bird was endemic to the forest of the island. The dodo, a bird intimately woven in the DNA of the island, is also sadly iconic for the role mankind played in its extinction, said Vikash Tatya. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. I hope I got somewhere close. I really am sorry. Director of Conservation at the Island Wildlife Foundation. It also symbolizes efforts to prevent species extinctions. We are also grateful for Colossal technologies and the promise to return the iconic species extinct since the 1680s to its native environment. In preparation for releasing the regenerated dodos into the wild, the two partners will collaborate on the restoration of ecosystems through invasive species removal, revegetation, and community awareness efforts. Scientists have already achieved the monumental feat of sequencing the full genome of the extinct species from bone specimens and other fragments. Next step is to gene edit the skin cell of the close living relative, which in the dodo's case is the Nicobar, I think, pigeon. So its genome matches that of the extinct bird. The aim is to make the genome match that of the extinct birds or get as close to it as possible with the help of gene editing tool CRISPR-Cas9. This is a technique that can cut and paste small sections of DNA, meaning scientists can delete or edit certain genes so that they more accurately represent the animal they are looking to recreate. This genetically altered cell then has to be used to create an embryo, in the same way Dolly the sheep in 1996, and brought to term in a living surrogate mother. Scientists hope that the chick that hatches will resemble something between the Nicobar pigeon and the dodos. And the dodo, sorry. They're aiming for the first lab-grown dodo to be born within this decade. Neat looking. Oh, so there's the pigeon, the Nicobar pigeon. Closest living relative to the dodo. And that's a neat little guy. Pretty bird. Alright, let's see. The dodo, discovered by Europeans in 1598, was a flightless bird that lived on the island in the Indian Ocean. The dodo gets its name from the Portuguese word for fool, after colonists mocked its apparent lack of fear of human hunters. It also became prey for cats, dogs, and pigs that had been brought with sailors exploring the Indian Ocean. Because the species lived in isolation on the island for hundreds of years, the bird was fearless, and its inability to fly made it easy prey. Its last confirmed sighting was in 1662, after Dutch sailors first spotted this species just 64 years earlier in 1598. Most people believe that the dodo was a fat, ungainly bird, but as it has been extinct since the late 1600s, nobody really knows exactly what the dodo looked like. Oxford University Museum of Natural History is home to the only surviving remains of dodo soft tissue that exists anywhere in the world. Scientists said the Oxford dodo was blasted in the back of the head with a shotgun. Oh my God, poor bird. Well, let's go. Let's see what it says on the size of this thing, because, all right, basic dodo facts. It stood 3 feet tall, weighed between 23 and 39 pounds. That's a big bird. There's also a dodo skull in the University of Copenhagen Zoological Museum, and an upper jaw in the National Museum at Prague. Now, these scarce fragments exist as a symbol of man-caused extinction, according to Colossal Biosciences. The dodo is a prime example of a species that became extinct because we people made it impossible for them to survive in their native habitat, said Professor Beth Shapiro, lead paleogeneticist at the company. Having focused on genetic advancements in ancient DNA for my entire career, and as the first to fully sequence a dodo's genome, I am thrilled to collaborate with Colossal and the people of the island that I can't pronounce the name of on the de-extinction and eventual rewilding of the dodo. I particularly look forward to furthering genetic rescue tools focused on birds and avian conservation. Professor Shapiro admitted that it will not be easy to recreate a living, breathing, actual animal in the form of a 3 feet in the form of a 3 foot tall bird. It was her team that sequenced the bird's entire genome for the first time in March 2022, having spent years struggling to find well enough preserved DNA. Mammals are simpler, said Professor Shapiro in of the University of California, Santa Cruz. If I have a cell of and it's living in a dish in a lab, I can edit it so that it has a bit of Dodo DNA. How do I then transform that cell into a whole living, breathing, actual animal? The way we can do this is to clone it. The same approach that was used to create Dolly the sheep. I hope it lives longer than Dolly, but we don't know how to do that with birds because of the intricacies of their reproductive pathways. She added, so there needs to be another approach for birds, and this is the only really fundamental technological hurdle in de-extinction. There are groups working on different approaches for doing that, and I have little doubt that we are going to get there, but it is an additional hurdle for birds that we don't have for mammals. Other experts have questioned whether the new creation would really be a dodo at all. There is nobody around to teach the dodo how to be a dodo. Uh, Mikhail Sinding, I guess, a paleogeneticist at the University of Copenhagen, told Scientific America, you can genome edit the hell out of something and say you have remade a species, but is it really the species? Now, I could go through all this, but this is basically recapping something that was up there, but I guess we can go through a little bit. Little is known about the life of the dodo, despite the notoriety that comes with being one of the world's most famous extinct species in history. The bird gets its name from, yeah, we already went through that. We went for the 3 foot tall. I'm still wondering how a cat took down a 3 foot tall bird. Because the species lived in isolation, yeah, it made it easy prey. Um, as it had evolved without any predators, it survived in bliss for centuries. The arrival of human settlers on the island meant that its numbers rapidly diminished as it was eaten by the new species invading its habitat, humans. I wonder how it tastes. Sailors and settlers ravaged the docile bird and went from a successful animal occupying an environmental niche with no predators to extinct in a single lifetime. Now, I know they're saying how they are going to be able to do this and how they can do it, but I don't know if they are even thinking if they should do it. Which would be the big question here. But now let's get to the last article, and I'll try to make it through it because it's a weird one. But I fear, people might get a kick out of it. This is on the Post Millennial. Let's see who wrote this one. Thomas Stevenson. Okay. Man in kilt arrested after shoving items up his rectum in Texas antique shop. Man was caught on camera putting the items he had put up his rectum back on shelves. Alright. A Texas man has been arrested after he was caught on camera putting products up his rectum in an antique store, which he then put back on store shelves. According to a news release from the Harris County Constable Precinct, Mitchell C. Vest, 60, was arrested on February 15th with one count of criminal mischief for putting items including a hairbrush, bottle opener, and a tobacco tin up his rectum. He wore a kilt to the Antique Gallery of Houston on February 8th, as well as the Curiosity Shop in Spring, Texas, and performed the actions. He placed the items back on the shelves after putting them in his rectum. It's priceless, the Curiosity Shop. Well, everything's an adult toy if you're adventurous enough, I guess. Uh, okay. Mark Herman, Harris County Constable Precinct 4. All right. Constables identify suspect who placed items in his rectum, then placed them back on the store shelves. On February 15th, 2024, deputies with Constable Mark Herman's office received information from multiple concerned citizens regarding the identification of a male who was observed selecting items for multiple vendors at an antique outlet mall and placing the selected items in his rectum. The male was then observed removing the items and placing them back on the shelves. This incident occurred in the 21,100 block of Springtown Drive. During further investigation, constable investigators were able to positively identify the male as Mitchell Vest. Due to the loss of multiple antique items that had to be disposed, constable deputies obtained a warrant for his arrest for the offense of criminal mischief. Deputies with Constable Mark Herman's Special Operations Unit then located and apprehended Mitchell Vest for his criminal mischief warrant. His bond is set at it's set at $100 out of County Court 14, Constable Mark Herman. Grizzly's Hood News, whatever that is. Okay. The male was then observed removing the items and placing them back on the shelves. Police release stated during further investigation, constable investigators were able to possibly identify them. Yeah, we got past that. Police are also investigating to find the woman who went with the man to the store. Vest was loitering around the store for hours, performing the action with several items. Gallery manager Susan Golden told a local outlet, "I had to watch it a couple of times to be sure I knew what I was looking at." Oh hell. Golden added that Vest had been seen on several other occasions in other stores and would stay for hours at a time. The affidavit in the case stated both complainants advised they had to throw away the items that were used in this incident due to feces being on them. Oh God. After Vest's description had circulated, there were owners in different towns as far away as Galveston that realized he had made stops in their stores as well. Whew. That is a very, very messed up man. It's just, I'm sorry about that one, but it was too weird not to cover. Anyways, if you made it this far, I thank you for watching. Um, I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, please leave a like, comment, um, and if you think we're in it, please subscribe. I'll try to have another video out soon. Hopefully, it won't be on anywhere near a topic like a strange man in Texas wearing a kilt, shoving things up his butt. So I hope you have a pleasant evening, day, or whatever it is for you, and I'll talk to you in the next one.